Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q4 FY21 earnings conference call of Dollar Industries Limited, hosted by Elara Securities Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Akhil Parekh from Elara Securities Private Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Margaret. On behalf of Elara Securities, I would like to welcome you all to the fourth quarter FY21 conference call of Dollar Industries. From the management side, we have with us Mr. Vinod Gupta, Managing Director, Ms. Shashi Agarwal, Senior VP, Corporate Strategy and IR, and Mr. Ankit Gupta, CFO. Without taking much time, I'll hand it over to Mr. Vinod Gupta for the opening remarks, and post which we can open the floor for Q&A session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Akhil. Good morning, and I welcome everyone to this Q4 earnings call of Dollar Industries Limited. I hope that you and all your loved ones are safe and healthy. We are going through exceptionally tough times right now. The second wave of the pandemic has hit us hard and is having larger and deadly impact than the first one. We need to fight this together by following the protocols as been outlined by the central government. We pray for the speedy recovery of those who are battling the virus, and also extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the corona warriors who are standing up and working tirelessly, making efforts to keep us safe. We all know that FY 2021, it's been a rough year for all of us, and COVID-19 pandemic triggered global economic downturn. The global economy came to a standstill during this first quarter of the fiscal, wherein everything was engulfed by lockdown. The economy started recovering from the second quarter onwards. The economy had only started moving on the path to recovery, where it was met with the second wave. The current situation has left us all in uncertain environment, where we are trying to balance our life between pandemic and the work. The efforts are being made to keep us moving with the minimum possible impact on the entire economy and entire working of the company as well. I am happy to announce that in spite of the adverse situations, the company has been able to record 30% growth for the fourth quarter and 7% growth for the entire fiscal year. I must admit here that the pandemic has been instrumental in giving more legs to organized business at the cost of unorganized ones. We are no exception to get this advantage. The company made all the endeavor to meet the demand for the innerwear, casual wear, and continued supplies to its channel partners and the consumers. However, the company did experience degrowth in certain categories of the product like socks, leggings for women, where the demand was muted due to the current pandemic situation. During the year under review, the company has also succeeded in reducing its debtors by 13 days, reducing the total working capital cycle by 15 days altogether. The company will continue with its effort to bring down its working capital cycle further in the current year. The company has put down stricter policies around its credit policies, which is being accepted by the channel partners. The joint efforts of the company and its channel partners will help reduce the working capital cycle further. The advertisement expenditure for the year 2021 is around 79 crores, which is 7.5% of the total sales. By a holistic look, everyone revealed that out of the 79 crores, approximately 50 crores have been spent by the company during the year in branding, only due to re-engineering exercise done by the company in total overhauling its brand architecture. It's a known fact, and it was also made known to everyone during the past 3 quarters, that the company has had entered into a phase of rebranding, restructuring of its total brand. There was a process called brand architecture which was put in place. The entire process of brand architecture was started way back in 2019 to 1920 year, where we started with this process of brand architecture, and the dollar itself as a brand was also, there was a logo change. The entire logo of dollar was also changed. That particular process we started in 1920, and it was placed before the entire public at large in the year, only in the last year 2021. Everyone is well aware that whenever there is a change for this brand architecture and the logo design, we will have to spend heavily to put it forward before the retailers network and the consumers, so that everyone is now well averse with the entire logo change, and they know that really a change has happened. Because of this entire brand architecture and the logo redesign, we were forced to go in for that 360-degree exercise, so that we reach out with the change to the retailers and the consumers in a big manner. And because of that exercise, the company, we had to spend around 50 crores of rupees for this rebranding, going forward to the retailers and the consumers in 360-degree, so that everyone is well averse of this logo redesign and the brand architecture. So this 50 crore rebranding expenditure we incurred, especially in 2021, as a one-off expenditure for a one-off event where we had no option but to go with that. And out of that 50 crores, 19 crores were spent in Q4 only, wherein all the 19 crores amount we had spent, it was spent in the form of dealer boards and the in-shop branding altogether. We have tried to rationalize the advertisement expenditure and reallocation of budget in digital, print and TV media has come in handy to meet all that demand. In our endeavor to cap the advertisement expenditure at an absolute value rather than linked to the sales, the company has now allocated a budget of around 30 to 40 crores for advertising and around 20 crores for branding during the current fiscal year. Now moving on to the joint venture Pepe Jeans Innovation Private Limited, the JV recorded a sales of 17 crores as against a sales of 16 crores in the year 1920. The growth plan of the entire JV venture cannot be delivered as budgeted due to the pandemic situation, making traveling and the movements restricted. Now I shall hand over to Ankit, our CFO, to discuss the financial performance of the company. Thank you. Now over to Ankit.
Thank you, sir. Good morning and a warm welcome to everyone. Moving on to the financial performance, the company's total revenue for Q4 FY21 and FY21 stood at rupees 310.44 and rupees 1040.43 crores as compared to rupees 240.52 and rupees 971.81 crores for Q4 FY20 and FY20. A growth of 29% for Q4 FY21, 7% for FY21. The EBITDA of the company for Q4 FY21 and FY21 stood at 33.24 crores, that is 10.71%, and rupees 141.56 crores, that is 13.61%, as compared to rupees 24.21 crores, that is 10.07%, and 109.29 crores, that is 11.25% for Q4 FY20 and FY20, a growth of 37% and 30% respectively. The PBT for Q4 FY21 and FY21 stood at rupees 27.07 crores, that is 8.72%, and 117.30 crores, that is 11.27%, as compared to rupees 16.83 crores, that is 7%, and 79.78 crores, that is 8.21% for Q4 FY20 and FY20. A growth of 61% and 47% for Q4 FY21 and FY21. The PAT for the Q4 FY21 and FY21 stood at 19.44 crores, that is 6.26%, and 87.51 crores, that is 8.41%, as compared to 12.31 crores, that is 5.12%, and 58.89 crores, that is 6.06% for Q4 FY20 and FY20. A growth of 58% and 49% for Q4 FY21 and FY21. I am happy to share that the company has started showing improvements in its working capital cycle. For the year under review, the debtor days stood at 120 days, inventory at 112 days, and creditors at 46 days. Thus a total of 186 days. We saw a downtrend from 200 days and saw an improvement of overall 15 days. If we calculate the working capital cycle for 320 days of working, removing the 45 days of lockdown in the first quarter, the debtor days will stand at 106 days, inventory at 98 days, and creditors at 40 days, adding up to 164 days. The cash flow of the company has improved during the period, and there has been a positive cash generation from operating activities. Moreover, the company will continue with its effort to improve the working capital cycle further. Now moving on to the brand-wise contribution Q4 FY21, Bigg Boss stood at 43%, Champion at 1%, Dollar Socks at 1%, Force Go Wear 2%, Force Next 2%, Missy 8%, Regular 34%, Thermals 9%. In terms of product category, we saw that athleisure did really very well this fiscal and contributed around 14% in our total sales. Now, small update on the JV company. The JV company is working on expanding its distribution network pan-India, which was slow in the previous year due to pandemic restrictions and movement restrictions. The total revenue of JVCo for FY 2021 stood at 17.18 crores as compared to rupees 16.36 crores for FY 19-20, a growth of 5% for FY 21. The loss from the joint venture for the FY 21 stood at rupees 3.89 crores as compared to rupees 4.52 crores for FY 20, with our share of loss being rupees 1.96 crores this year. I now open the forum for Q&A.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who would like to ask a question, please press star and 1 at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Bhargav Buddhadev from Kotak. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, team. Is it possible to know what is the volume growth for the quarter and for the full year?
Sorry, Bhargav, you just have to repeat the question again. The voice is not very clear.
I was saying, is it possible to know what is the volume growth for the quarter and for the full year?
Absolutely. So I would say that we have experienced an 11% growth on a financial year basis. That's the volume growth, and 17% for the quarter.
So 11% for the full year and 17% for the quarter, right? Hello?
Yeah, that's correct, Bhargav.
Okay. Secondly, is it possible to know what is the revenue of the yarn and dyeing business of yours? Because in your presentation, I see that you also have revenues coming in from those two businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So yarn and the spinning mill which we are working across, that's the revenue is very, very small, minimal, very minimal revenue there, because majorly the yarn produced from the mill is also used for the captive consumption. Some of the quantity is definitely sold across to the market at large. So that is a very minimal quantity, Bhargav, and right now I don't have that number very handy. We can get on one-to-one call to get that clarified.
But would it be less than, 7 to 8% kind of a number is possible, or much lower than that?
7 to 8% is a big number, I would say. The number is much, much lower than that.
Achha,
it's less.
And lastly, if you can sort of highlight how is your sort of project under Vector Consulting getting rolled out, if you can throw some light on that. And that would be my last question.
Absolutely. Would be glad to take that question, Bhargav. So we have successfully started implementing the Project Lakshya, or the theory of constraint, across 5 states. That's Karnataka, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Telangana. Plans are to start implementing or copy-paste the model which we have been talking about in the northeast states somewhere in the next month, once we have better movement possibilities are there, and also in the Andhra Pradesh. So these are the next two states. That's the 7 states there, but I would just take northeast as one combination here. So we'll start them the implementation in the next month. If I really look at, if you look at the presentation which we have put across in terms of the Project Lakshya, you will see that, the number of distributors which were there previously when we started in the areas when we have already rolled out the project, you'll see that there's increase in the numbers of distributors which we have appointed there as compared to what we were doing it previously. Similarly, like if I have to talk about Karnataka, there were 15 distributors previously. Now we have currently 16 distributors in the allocated areas. Rajasthan, out of 7, we have moved to 16 distributors. Maharashtra, the 6 distributors have increased it to 7. Gujarat, where there were no distributors, in the areas where we had no distributors, we have appointed 6 distributors there. Similarly, in Telangana, where there were no distributors in the areas which were vacant, we have appointed another 2 distributors. So this is the way we are identifying the white areas, or the areas where we have little or reach in those, in the vicinities, geographical region. We have started appointing distributors. Now, similarly, if we talk about the retail reach, now previously I would say that on an average, depending on the state, the distributors would bill anywhere between 75 to 100 or 125 retailers on an average, because majorly their target was to push across the materials to the wholesale model. Where now when you see that currently when we have these accessibilities and the insight into the data that what men and are billing to the retailers, that we do not allow any kind of wholesale to be done, you'll see that numbers have gone up drastically in terms of the retail reach. For example, in Karnataka, the 15 distributors on an average 100 retailers, we have from 1,500 moved up to 3,239 retailers. For Rajasthan, where we are taking again an average of 100 retailers billed by these 7 distributors, from 700 we have moved up to 5,712 retailers. Maharashtra, approximately 125 retailers were billed by the distributors. We have moved up from 750 to 834. Gujarat, where we had no presence in those retail shops, we have again targeted another 961 retailers where we have been billed in that last fiscal. Telangana, similarly, again 361 retailers being added to our portfolio. Then again, I would also like to talk about the range. We talk about the reach and range expansion. So this was the reach expansion which we are talking about. Now I would want to talk about my range expansion. So previously, when we were billing around about 700 FG codes to our distributors, or the distributors were actually selling 700 FG codes in Karnataka, that number has gone up to 937. That means my range expansion is happening parallelly to my reach expansion in the market. Rajasthan, 965 FG codes being billed by the distributors, whereas currently 1,035 FG codes being billed by them. When I say FG code, they do not include the color and the size combination. This is purely when I say that it's a gym vest of a particular FG code, I exclude all the sizes, small, large, or the color combination there. So it's just typical FG code we are talking about. SKU expansion would be much, much higher. Maharashtra from 525 to 565. Gujarat from 288 FG codes, we have moved up to 446 FG codes. Telangana from 233, we have moved up to 255 FG codes. Basically, if I have to talk about Telangana, this is the number of FG codes billed by us, Pan Telangana. And now we see that in that particular small locality where we have just 2 distributors, we have been able to bill 255 FG codes. Now moving on, just to say that how this has been working out is like the average, what we have done is we have taken an average monthly sales. Because all these distributors have been rolled out at a different point of time, so getting a summation of the numbers in terms of mismatch of the time period would not be possible. So what we have done is we have taken around, I would say that average monthly sales pre-rollout and post-rollout. So you can see that there has been quite a jump in kind of an average monthly sales done to the all these distributors. This is the primary sales we are talking about. So where we were having around about 65.4 to approximately average monthly sale, it has moved on to 109 crore. 97 lakh in Rajasthan has moved up to 1.41 crore. 31 lakh in Maharashtra has moved up to 51 lakh. Gujarat, 2 lakh has moved up to 22 lakhs. Telangana, where this particular area had no primary sale being done, this has moved up to 8.41 lakhs. So this is basically, I would say, that's the trend which we have now. We can produce these data because the sample size has gone bigger, and our plan is to roll this out in terms of include more and more states. But unfortunately, the current situation, the pandemic situation, is far and reaching, deadlier, as we all know, deadlier than the previous one. So we have in our mind the safety and security of our team on ground. And so that is taking a slow pace. It has not been moving into the speed and pace which we would have wanted it to move. So probably by now, as we had discussed in previous calls also, that we would have want to close the Karnataka and Rajasthan states completely. This could not be done. The lockdowns, the restrictions, and our priority to ensure that the team on ground are secure and safe has actually slowed down this project. But we can see that these results are far and reaching for us, and we are overwhelmed and delighted with the results that we are seeing on our way. So we are very, very hopeful that with the situation under control, once we start it in a full-fledged manner, we will get better results and it will show into our balance sheet and P&L.
Now, thanks a lot for such an elaborate answer. Just one related question is that in your strongest market, which is North and East, when do we plan to roll out the TOC part?
Which area you're talking about, Bhargav?
The East and the North part of India.
East and North part of the India right now, we are holding it back. Northeast we are doing, as I told you, that we are doing Northeast and Andhra Pradesh is next in line. And probably we will right now concentrate more on southern part, because as we see in our zonal chart that south is dipping a bit. It's gone by 7%. From 8 it has moved down to 7%. We would want to concentrate on south first before moving to north and east.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. And all the very best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankit Babel from Shubhkam Ventures. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Sir, a couple of questions. Sir, if you could please clarify what was the total advertisement and the marketing cost in FY21, and out of that, how much was one-off? You were discussing some 50-60 crores as one-off. So, could you again quantify that and repeat that?
Yeah. Hi, Ankit.
Yeah.
Our advertisement cost for FY21 was 78.55 crores, out of which 50 crores have been spent by the company just for the branding exercise, which was mainly due to the change in the brand architecture and the change of logo. So we had to make a big impact in terms of awareness in the market, because we don't want to confuse the consumer with the old logo and the new logo. It was
yeah, please continue.
Rest was, and the balancing figure was for the advertisement, like the PVC coming out for the Big Boss and Missy, and on the platform as well, the hoardings and everything. Yeah.
And what are your targets for FY22 in totality? I mean, the 78.55 versus how much you are targeting in this year?
In FY22, in totality, we are targeting somewhere between 50 to 60 crores, and out of which 30 to 40 crores would be for advertisement and 20 crores will be for purely branding purpose.
I mean the branding for the logo purpose. Continuation.
Right.
Right? Okay. Sir, my second question is that you had guided for a net working capital of around 130 days for FY21 in your second quarter con call. But when I am looking at the results, you actually ended up with 185 days of net working capital. So what is the reason for the same, and what are your targets for FY22 end in terms of net working capital?
So overall, this FY21, we have reduced our working capital days by 15 days. And if you, I think what you're talking about is that time what we had said was mainly we took into account. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening, sir. You're audible.
So when we had our call, we took into account, we deducted the total number of selling period by 45 days, which was under lockdown. I think that was the gap that you're talking about. And if we take 320 days as our selling period, our working capital cycle is around 164 days, as opposed to 201 days last year. But taking full year, like 365 days as a whole, currently our working capital day is 186 days, which is, so we see an improvement of around 15 days over there. Going ahead, in this fiscal also, we'll try to reduce our total days by around 15 to 20 days. That is the target that we have taken internally also, and we are quite hopeful that we'll be able to achieve this reduction.
Okay. And what kind of revenue growth and operating margins you are targeting for this fiscal?
So for FY22, since this second wave has hit us very hard, and there's a pan-India, like all the states are calling lockdowns. Since first week of April, the lockdown process has been started in different parts of India. So I won't say that we'll be able to do very well in Q1, but overall on FY22, what we foresee is that we'll be able to achieve around 13 to 15% growth in our sales, and margin will be somewhere. We'll see an improvement of around 150 to 200 basis points.
So around 15% margins is possible this year. 15% plus, right?
Yes. That's what we have taken a target internally, and we are hopeful to achieve that.
In spite of higher raw material price, you believe that you'll be able to pass it on?
So all the raw material or the input price hikes that have happened since the month of October, November, all the costs have been mitigated to the channel partners and the consumers at an appropriate time. And currently, all the input price hikes have been forwarded to the channel partners, and all the price hikes, the company has taken all the price hikes. So currently, in the month of April also, the company took a price hike to match the input cost.
Yeah, I would also like to mention, Ankit, here that is, if you look at our results this year, that you'll see that there has been an improvement of 2% into our gross margin. That's been possible because these have been efficiently booked in, and the materials which we had the raw material at the older price has helped us to get those hikes here, that jump in the gross margin. So we are very, very hopeful that we can manage this, because we have managed it in a times when it was really very crucial. The price hike started right from November and was absolutely at a very upward trend till March. It just went down for some time, but again started rising. So we have been able to manage our situation in such tough times, and I'm sure we will be able to do it further as well. So EBITDA margin at 15% as a guidance, we don't see tough, because we have also capped or we are very, very cognizant of the fact that we need to work onto our advertisement expenses, and also, take into account the other expenses which are there as in fixed expense. And if you're trying to reach 1,200 crores, there would be some economies of scale coming from the fixed expenses as well. So all these things put together, 15% EBITDA should not be a big challenge for us to work there, because we are already sitting around 14%.
Clarification.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Babu. May I request you to rejoin the queue for follow-up questions, as there are several others waiting for their turn as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management will be able to address questions from all participants, we would request you to limit your question to 2 at a time. Should you have a follow-up question, please rejoin the queue. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Arun Kejriwal from Kejriwal Research. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for taking my question. We have witnessed after the onset of the pandemic that a lot of these consumer products are being sold online. What has been our experience, and what kind of sales have we realized from the online channels for the year 21 and particularly Q4 of 21?
So, hi Arun. Our online sales have grown by 2x, almost 2x for FY21. We saw a very good demand coming in from the online platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, and the total percentage of sales coming from online was around 2.25% in this particular fiscal, FY21.
Okay. And in Q4, what would it be?
Sorry?
Q4, what would be the number?
Q4 was in line with what we saw in Q2 and Q3 in our online sales. So earlier our online sales used to be around 1.5% of our total sales, but this particular fiscal FY21, the contribution was around 2.25%.
Right.
In terms of volume, if I have to put it across, probably I had 19 lakh pieces being sold in 1920, which was a combination of my large format stores and my e-commerce platform. Whereas this particular year, I would say I have sold more than 18 lakh pieces just on the e-commerce platform itself.
Okay. Thanks for that. My second question would be cotton yarn significantly. You are a backward integrated player producing your own yarn. What kind of efficiency has that given you in your cost of raw materials, if I could ask?
Yeah, so Arun, actually, the very right question. You see a margin, if you take at the gross margin at our company level for the entire fiscal of 21 and 20, you see that we have a jump of around about 2% in terms of our gross margin is concerned. So since we have to produce, we have to buy cotton, we have to have the stock of cotton as well to produce the yarn, and accordingly we are much more. I would say we are ahead of the entire industry in terms of understanding how it would flare. The yarn prices are going to flare going forward. Taking this into account and the production which we are doing at our end has given an edge over us, over the competitors, and we want to continue doing that so that we can, get more efficiencies out here. The efficiencies can be built in terms of production, in-house production is there. So
okay.
we get into a better negotiation terms with our vendors as well.
Yeah, and if you could just squeeze in a small question, any guidance that you would like to share for growth in 21-22 in terms of your top line?
For FY22, what we are targeting is we'll see a growth of around 13 to 15%.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shalini Gupta from Quantum Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Ma'am, if you could please give me the growth in the economy, mid-premium, premium, and women's segment.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ms. Gupta. Your voice is breaking up. It's not very clear.
Okay. Ma'am, if you could, can you hear me now? Hello, ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, ma'am.
Okay, so if you can give me the growth in some of the various segments like economy, mid-premium, premium, thermals, and women's segments.
In terms of, Shalini, the Big Boss, which is a mid-premium brand for us, if we talk that way, in men's segment, the overall growth has been 9% for us. If I talk about my premium segment, that is Force Next, I have seen a growth around about 19% here. And the best part out here in Force Next which is the premium segment for us again, is like we have sold more number of athleisure pieces than the innerwear. That the athleisure has been very well accepted in the market and is having a growing demand there. If I have to talk about my regular, that is economy segment, I have seen a growth of around about 18% in terms of my regular, that's majorly the innerwear from men's at lower categories, that they range somewhere between 50 to 100 rupees. They start 57, 60 rupees on with it in MRP level. If I talk about Missy, that's my women's brand, women innerwear segment, and the leggings, the bottom wear. Here, unfortunately, as we already our MD sir highlighted in the opening statement, that the leggings have been seeing a muted demand because the women are not going much in for shopping here now. So you see a negative growth of 10% out here. But that's majorly because of low demand in the legwear. If we put that up, we will see that going forward, we are very, very confident to get this and garner this as well. Thermals, we have seen a growth of 13% in terms of, at an overall level. It forms a 9% of to my total sales pie chart. So that has been good here as well now.
Okay. And ma'am, like a lot of your competitors have said that the reason for the strong growth is that there's been movement from unorganized to the organized sector. Are you also experiencing something like that? Because the unorganized sector, a lot of the players have shut down during the COVID time.
That's true, Shalini. So current situation has made it very difficult for small players to operate and work and produce in the similar fashion which they were doing it before COVID was there. Currently, getting labors, continuing with the expenditure they have to incur with the continued production, and having a team to set it up, and even then getting, once the products are produced, they have to transport and put it across to the distributors. The entire channel is much more difficult to them as compared to the organized players. So right now we definitely see a vacuum on the sales of the retailers. So we are trying to garner that space, and probably you'll see we have not only had a growth in terms of value, but we've also seen a volume growth in my economy segment. So that's something very good for us, that once we can occupy this vacuum created by the unorganized segment, we want to continue occupying that space going further.
Okay. And ma'am, my last question, what is the average selling price and what has been the increase in the average selling price and YOY increase?
I would say my average selling price on quarter basis has been, has increased around about 7% to 8% here, because we had taken a price hike in the quarters. But at a yearly level, if I talk about, there has not been much of an increase in selling price. Previously, I was around about 58 rupees ASP on the fiscal level, whereas currently I'm around about 57 rupees at a fiscal level.
So you've declined in ASP?
In fiscal level, yes, definitely we declined because of the discounts and schemes offered to the consumers, retailers, and the distributors. The entire channel partners, the discount has increased by 1% out here. And that's the reason you will see the decline in my ASP as well.
Okay, I'll come back to the queue for my other questions. Thank you.
Continue here, one. Your question here is that there has also been a shift in terms of my product mix. Like for Misty, my leggings have gone down, so my ASP has decreased there. For my regular items, even there, my mix has gone more towards the lower selling items than to the high price items. So the product mix has also contributed to my decline in the ASP here.
Okay. And ma'am, then what's your outlook? Hello?
13 to 15%.
Hello?
Members of the management, we lost your audio, so we could not hear that answer. May I request you to please repeat?
Can you hear me now, Margaret? Is my voice clear?
We can hear you now.
So the outlook for the top line growth for the next year is 13 to 15%.
Thank you. I would request Ms. Gupta to rejoin the queue for follow-up questions. The next question is from the line of Devanshu Bansal from Emkay Global Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question. So we have taken a higher price hike, I guess, versus peers in the premium category. So firstly, on a like-to-like basis, what is the price hike that we have taken? And do you think this would have resulted into a decrease in the price gap of our products with the premium categories? And does that propel customers to go for premium players?
So what I would like here, Devanshu, before I start, like overall basis, if I have to say that my price hike have been at around 5% for my premium categories of product. Like to like in terms, I don't know whom you're trying to work out here, but as far the other players are concerned.
No, ma'am, I wanted for value products, what is the price price increase we have taken? For Bigg Boss, as in like to like, what is the price hike that we have taken?
Bigg Boss, as I told you, Bigg Boss Force Next is around about 5%. We have taken a price hike around 5%. The MRP has also been increased, the retail price levels and the distributor price levels. All the hikes have been distributed among the three.
But you indicated 29% growth for Q4 and 17% volume growth. So in a sense, this 12% is more of revenue mix change as well?
Absolutely. Because as I told you that as Mr. Ankit Gupta highlighted in the beginning, that the athleisure has contributed around about 14% at a company level from all the different categories of products are concerned. So Bigg Boss athleisure, Force Next athleisure, athleisure in the women's segment, athleisure in the regular segment, they have all high priced products. So that increase has come from there. My product mix increase has contributed as well as pulled me down, both depending on the category we are talking about. They have helped me grow. So my ASP has increased also in my Bigg Boss segment, Force Neck segment. They have increased the ASPs.
Okay. Lastly, the premium player has also suggested entry into rural India with a separate line of products. So how do you, is this product already in the market, and how do you see this product impacting us?
So premium products, see, again, athleisure we have introduced just last year itself. So these products have been entering both the urban and the rural market. And with the current situation in terms of work from home scenarios where people are mostly dressed in casual attires, that's something to relaxed form of working, required for the relaxed form of working from home, that is something is having a far and greater reach right now. And innerwears having, that's an essential wear. Again, you need to have innerwears irrespective of your place of work. So those are again penetrating. We had far and reach, far and greater reach in terms of the rural areas are concerned. So for us, the market is just more about expanding the retail reach, which we are doing through our project Lakshya, where we are trying to increase our reach and range at a deeper and at a pin code level, I would say. Trying to be possible.
I get that, but my question was specifically to Page Industries indicating a separate line of products for the rural India. So how do you see that line of products impacting us?
Till the time I do understand that there would be a competition for us, but right now we would wait for the market to react onto that. Because for that they would really have to, their payment terms are stricter as compared to the other companies and already playing in the market. And the availability of cash and the relationship which we have created with our distributors along in the entire rural areas is something it would be required to be established for them. Though yes, the brand establishment is already there, but again, let's see how the market and the consumers react to that. And we would be prepared for that to take it over. We are also preparing our terms of having the right kind of product at the right price for the retail and the rural areas.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. That's it from my end.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Arun Pujari from Cash Involved Research. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. My question is primarily on receivables. So just wanted to ask three things. During pandemic, how have you seen the portfolio of receivables treating? As in, was there any write-off, or how do you treat? Is there a change in the treatment on receivables has happened? That is one. The second part is you mentioned about 15 to 20 days reduction in receivables. Now, in conjoint, if I look at Lakshya, the project Lakshya, we feel the scope of reduction receivables could be much more if the financer could be introduced. I think last time you had mentioned about financer being introduced and receivables coming down drastically. So is this project, the receivable project, has been taken up seriously at a senior level, wherein some hard numbers like 15 to 20 numbers looks broad, but some specific numbers of distributors and the time frame has been discussed, so that receivables in align with the pandemic, it's been addressed on a very serious and far-footing manner.
Right, Arun. So I'll start with your first question, that have we taken any write-off during this pandemic situation? Arun, as we are working on an agent model where they act as in Del Cadre, that is their insurance to our debtors, we do not have any write-offs into our books. Any bad debts, if any, first of all, we do not have any bad debts, but if any we have, is contributed or made good by the agent in charge of that particular state. So the company's books, you'll see there would be no write-offs. There's only a provision created as per the guidelines of the government, but write-offs would not be there, number one. Number two, as you mentioned, that is the senior management involved in terms of making sure that the payments are realized regularly, the financing, we talked about channel financing part, that has been taken up seriously. Yes, the senior management, right starting from our MD and the joint MD who is ensuring that entire sales and collection part is being monitored under the direct supervision of them, have a personal interest in realization of the debtors and reducing their working capital cycle. As we speak, I'll tell you why we could see these improvements. It's because of the hard effort put up and the close monitoring put in by the MD and the joint MD we have in the company taking care of the sales. More so ever, the Project Lakshya, how it really helps us to reduce our working capital cycle is, see, once you have seen the potential, once the distributor sees the potential in terms of the reach and range and the number of retailers he's serving and the kind of orders he's receiving on a daily basis, he doesn't want to lose that sale. For him, that's a sales loss, which he can see. Previously, these sales could not be seen by them now. So here, if they do not make timely payment, the company stops the supply to these distributors.
Ma'am, I have just one question on this. Is this model contradicting with something which a company wants to achieve? Like, for example, Dell Credit Agent, which is an assurance model, does that give us an impetus to really work on reducing your receivables? Because reducing the receivables would also mean taking a hit on the sales. So that is one. And the second part is, maybe with the Lakshya model, where the new distributors and the final penetration is happening, okay, and if you really push, and that is what I understand it is happening, but you really push the financing angle to it, so all your credit can get converted to sales, cash sales, So that is the second point which I am coming in. So these are only 2 points which I have, ma'am.
Okay. So from the first point, that's the Dell Cadre which you're seeing. Definitely, it is not contradicting. I'll tell you why. Because agents is also sitting on a liability. If the number of days goes on increasing for a debtor, for a distributor, he's also exposed to a risk. Whereas if he make a faster collection, his risk also reduces drastically. Today, whatever interest cost would be arising out of beyond a particular point, that would also be going into his account. So he would make sure that the payment has to be done at a speedy level. Realization has to also increase. More so ever, when we were talking about the Lakshya distribution as well the other distribution models, we are appointing new distributors, where from the day one we have been stricter in terms of credit policies are concerned and credit days are concerned. Those helped us reduce our debtor days as well. So the point of Dell Cadre, it's there that they do not want to increase their liability and they do not want to expose themselves to a greater risk. So speedy recovery also is in their favor. Coming to Lakshya model as well, here when we are talking about that they are losing the cash sales, basically when they can see that they do not have the stock because the company will not provide a stock to them beyond a particular number of days when the receivables have gone very high, they are losing that sales, and that's something which they can see, which previously those distributors were not able to see them. So here they would again want to make the payments and a faster payment because and to top it up, the realization for them at Lakshya distributors have been far more greater than the people into the normal trade. So for them to reduce, for them it really makes sense to pass on the realization to the company and reduce the debtors. So here, all these two parameters put together is helping the company to reduce the receivables. And again, as I said, that the top management focus and priority is to reduce the working capital cycle. This is taking the top priority in the company, ensuring that we do not take a hit on our sales. Because as we are talking about, we are appointing new distributors, we are expanding our retail and range reach, which is having a far more reaching effect in terms of this being possible. Like, I can understand you would have this thought, fear in the mind that this would take a direct hit in terms of the sales are concerned. But as we spoke about the numbers, which we have seen in our slide and presentation in the Lakshya as well, that this is not going to take us down. Rather, we see a map ahead in terms of the growth is concerned.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Hope to see 15 to 20 days of receivable coming down to 15 to 20 days. Thank you.
Very much. The company is working onto it, and we are confident that we'll be able to do that.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tanay Nangelia from Tusk Investments. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. I had one question. Ma'am, you initially said that there has been on a Q-on-Q basis, there has been a volume increase, right? if I'm not wrong.
A Q-on-Q basis, just give me a sec. I would say, you please continue with your question. I'll take the answer.
Yeah. So, ma'am, and secondly, the yarn prices have gone up, but as I could see, the revenues of the company has declined Q-on-Q. So, could you please throw some light on it?
So your question is, the volume has increased for the company on a quarter-on-quarter basis, whereas the revenue
volume has increased. Yeah, revenue, there is a decline in the revenue. So I wanted to understand, like, could you just throw some light, where have we taken a hit in the revenues?
Okay. So I would say, in the last quarter, I had sold a higher selling. We have majorly sold the thermals and the athleisure in the last quarter, which is a higher ASP selling item.
So is there an ASP decline quarter on quarter?
Yeah, hi. So in terms of volume, on quarter basis, there was an increase. Increase in the volume, but in terms of amount, there was a decline due to the reason that in the month of January we have changed some of our scheme structure. Earlier, the retail scheme which was there till Q3, which used to come in other expenses as an selling and distribution expense, is now being net off with the sales in the top line. So that's why you are seeing a decrease in the amount part. But overall, when we talk about volume, there was an increase.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot. Sir, I have another question. So, like, as I could see, there is a decline in the PBT margins also. And like we had earlier discussed in the con call today only, that we are backward integrated and we have a very good knowledge of yarn prices. So could you please say, like, where have we taken a hit in our margins?
So in Q4, our PBT has declined due to the only reason that our advertisement costs were really high. Advertisement costs, the schemes that we give in the market in the last quarter, like the target completion incentives that we give it to our distributors, that was high. Generally, like if you see Q4 last year also, we had spent around 6.5 crores in advertisement. But this year in Q4, we spent around 25.78 crores in the advertisement part. It was mainly because of the branding exercise we had to do due to our logo change and the brand architecture change. That is the only reason why our PBT was lower than Q3.
Okay, so that is where the margins have been eaten up a bit because of the advertisement restructuring expenses.
Right.
Okay. That's it from my side. All the best for your future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pranay Jhaveri from J&J Holdings. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. I have two questions. One is on the subcontract expenses. If I see Q1Q and that has shot up, so can you just throw light on that, please?
So our subcontracting expenses were around 20% on yearly basis, which last year also was around 19.odd%. There's not much increase, but there was an increase in our stitching prices and some processing prices, due to which our overall cost increased in subcontracting expense.
Sir, if I see your Q3, it was about 19%, and Q4, it was around 22%. I'm comparing Q1, Q1, Q. You can just...
Q3 is a bit lighter in terms of production, because from Q4 itself, again the thermal production starts, because Q2 and Q3 sees the sale of thermal products. So the production starts from Q4 itself. And in Q3, there's no production of thermals as such, which is a higher costing product.
Okay. And my second question is on, in terms of this Vector Consulting, how do you see the milestones over a 3-5 years period of time in terms of effect to the P&L as well as balance sheet? If you can just throw some light on that.
So for Vector Consulting, we already have completed 2 years. This is 3rd year in running, and we have renewed that contract. You will see this expenses coming for other till December, till the time the miles till December, and post that we will take a call how to continue with them or not. Part of it is the entire last year and even the current year we have been slowed down due to pandemic. 45 days there, and even after the 45 days of complete lockdown, even if the working did start on a partial level, it was very difficult for the entire team to travel and to make movements. The retail shops were open in some states were still under a complete lockdown position. So all these things have actually slowed down the project. The milestones which we had previously targeted, completion of my Maharashtra and Karnataka by March, we could not do that. Starting many more states by March, we could not do that. We are currently sitting only on 5 states, 2 further more in planning. All these things have been slowed down with the current pandemic situation. So the milestones which we were working across on, we are nowhere near there. We are hoping and praying that yes, we should be able to work this out. Rather that physically, if we are not able to be on the ground, we are trying to work onto a back end in terms of IT is concerned, ensuring that my DMS, ARS, so that's distribution management system, auto replenishment system, my sales field automation system. These things are working in alignment, and they are going any hitch free and glitch free. So that's the back end is which we are trying to work upon. We are also trying to work upon our supply chain alignments is concerned, so that we can take that ahead. So instead of wasting time instead of just wasting this period, we are trying to utilize it for the benefit of the company in the back end or the IT and the other stuff. Yes, sales part, we are still slow. We are slower than we expected.
Just wanted to understand, how do you look, going forward, where do you see this affecting the balance sheet or the P&L in what way? Say, what are your targets in terms of improvement in EBITDA or improvement in the ROS? Just trying to understand from that perspective.
As we said that the improvement for this current year, we are targeting a 13 to 15% of growth is concerned in the top line. EBITDA is another by 200 basis points we are targeting this year. That's something we are looking forward to. Working capital days, again, 15 to 20 days is improvement which we are targeting here at an overall basis. So this is just right now for us to talk ahead in terms of 5 years is little too, I would say, it would be far-fetching because, current situation of the pandemic where we don't know, where we are talking about a third wave to be there, we really should not be focusing on the 5 year, yes, but overall company level, if I have to say, 5 year, we definitely want to double our revenue is concerned. That's the target. But again, having said that, right now we are just working on a 1 year guidance and the budget which we have currently built in for ourselves. The target that the company has set for the team, the entire management, starting from the MD to the entire team on the ground is concerned, we are looking at, these are the numbers which we are looking at.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sandeep Kumar Maniar from Wisecall Services. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, and thank you for taking my question. I have question on channel financing and want to know what percentage of distributors are under the channel financing at the moment. And since past 2 to 3 years, it has been mentioned that the company has been working with the leading banks like State Bank of India and ICICI. And also, I want to know that since the peers in these segments are already successfully brought their receivable down under control through this channel financing model. So I want to understand that what is the company's plan and the vision.
Sir, I would not be able to give in terms of percentage because the channel financing has not been widely accepted by my distributors. Again, they are in numbers, as we have been talking about. It's about 5 to 10 distributors who are on board in terms of channel financing is concerned. One. In terms of my peer company, I will not be able to comment on to their workings are concerned. But yes, the company here, what are the efforts we are trying to make in terms of taking that ahead, I can talk about that. So here, to ensure that there is no loss for my distributors, we are also offering them additional discounts in terms, because in channel financing, the company realizes the payment on day one. So that's an additional benefit that should flow into the distributors, which the company is offering them. How long will it take to convert them? But I would say that it should not take much of a time, because it's been a long time we have been talking about it. They are now compelled with the current pandemic situation as well. They have understood and seen the benefits arising out of it. So we are expecting this word of mouth to spread like fire now, and we should see some numbers, big numbers coming in by the end of this fiscal, which would impact our balance sheet and give us a better understanding in terms of working capital is concerned, cycle is concerned. So that's what the expectation of the company is, and that's what the company is working on.
Thank you. Thank you. All our best wishes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Akhil Parekh for closing comments.
Thanks, Margaret. I would like, on behalf of Elara Securities, would like to thank the management of Dollar Industries for answering all the questions very patiently. Thanks a lot. Ma'am, any closing remarks? You can please go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining in our calls, and I hope I have been, the management of Dollar Industries have been able to answer all your questions and your queries have been satisfied. Wish you, during this pandemic situation, I would wish everyone to stay safe and stay secure. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Elara Securities, that concludes the conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.